Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Trilbee Vlogs, where I talk about either anything that I would like to talk about or whatever you have requested me to talk about. This is going to hopefully happen every week. Record this on Sunday, upload it on Monday, make it a regular thing so that there's regular content on the site and we can talk about whatever we really want to. Today's topic comes in from Dean Jones. This is a Patreon perk. Where if you go on www.patreon.com/Trilbee, one of the perks allows you to request a topic, anything that you want me to talk about. It doesn't even have to be about film or entertainment. It can be about life, it can be about music, video games, it can be about anything. What I think constitutes fine dining, that could be a topic, I don't know. But yeah, anything that you think could make a decent 10-minute video, then please let me know. But if you do it through Patreon, it's pretty much guaranteed to happen. I'd massively appreciate it because it is in fact keeping me fed, and that's a very nice thing, because what you'll learn about people in the world is that they generally like to eat. So anyway, today's topic comes from Dean Jones. Could you do a video on what you think Blofeld if you think Blofeld will appear in Spectre? That would be awesome. So thank you very much, Dean, for the suggestion. Now, let's just do a little bit of backtracking here. Ernst Stavro Blofeld is pretty much, when you think of the Bond villain, he is the image. He is the he is the personification of that. He is your mental image for when you think of like supervillain or spy villain. Pretty much his image, the white cat, the revolving chair, the scar on the eye, the bald head. Of course, like, he's inspired obvious villains. He's obviously inspired people such as Dr. Evil in the Austin Powers series, who he has a cat, Mr. Bigglesworth. And there's also Mini Mr. Bigglesworth when Dr. Evil has Mini-Me, which I think is a pretty funny joke. But there's also some slightly more subtle ones, such as maybe Inspector Gadget, whose arch nemesis is Dr. Claw, who has a pet cat. And there's also the creation of Lex Luthor, or at least Lex Luthor from the Superman animated series by writer and director Bruce Timm. He cites Blofeld as the influence for Lex Luthor in that series, and how he, from the way he talks to his schemes, was very much inspired by Blofeld from the James Bond series. He is the famous one, and even if villains such as Le Chiffre or I can't remember his name from Skyfall, Javier Bardem's character, even if they're the most recent ones, even if they're the ones that audience members know the name of, Blofeld is the one that they, even if they've not seen the films, they know about him. Which is interesting because Blofeld never actually made an appearance until 3 movies in. He had uncredited cameos in From Russia with Love and Thunderball, where Anthony Dawson was the figure, the body, and Eric Pullman was the voice. You only see the hands and the back of the head, and the end credits actually just have a question mark instead of an actor's name. It was something that had been built up for 4 years in the audience's minds. There was 4 years between From Russia with Love and You Only Live Twice, which is when Donald Pleasance, a terrific actor, I'll always know Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis from the Halloween series. He's such an incredible actor. And even though he passed away at the age of 75 in 1995, I still believe he still had a couple of great performances left in him before he passed away. But incredible actor. And while multiple actors have played Blofeld in the past, Donald Pleasance being the first, at least the first credited one who was given a face to the name, to the voice that audiences had known or been suspecting about and trying to figure out who this person was. Donald Pleasance was the first face, but there was Telly Savalas in Her Majesty's Secret Service, Charles Gray in Diamonds Are Forever, and Blofeld, and for Your Eyes Only, they once again went with the whole voice and body thing, with John Hollis providing the body and Robert Wrighty providing the voice for Your Eyes Only in 1981. In Never Say Never Again, he's played by Max von Sydow, although Never Say Never Again isn't an Eon production, so it's not really considered canon when it comes to Bond. But then again, what is canon? It's very confusing. So, Dean Jones's question: do you think Blofeld will appear in Spectre? Honestly, I think it's a foregone conclusion. Not just because Spectre is the name of the... It's basically the polar opposite of MI6. MI6 is, of course, the force for good, they're at least the protagonist in the audience's eyes, whereas Spectre is their mirror. They're the bad guys, they're the secret organisations that MI6 specialises in taking down. So when you have Spectre, you naturally come to Blofeld. And the thing about Blofeld, it's not just the fact that the fact that the movie is called Spectre, which suggests that Blofeld will have some sort of a presence. It's also the fact that the company that makes the Bond films actually reacquired the copyright to use the character and the organisation Spectre very recently. In 2013, the end of 2013, in fact, they reacquired the rights to use the character again. So it makes perfect sense that as soon as they get the copyright back to Blofeld and Spectre, they'll use him in the first movie after Skyfall. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion, in my opinion, whether or not he'll be bald, he'll have the scar on his eye, or the white cat, which I think would be a very cool image to bring into the modern day, almost like over 50 years later. It has been, let me count, 48 years since You Only Live Twice. So, yeah, which was the first time we saw Donald Pleasance's Blofeld. Wow, blimey, time flies. But yeah, I think it would be... I'd be interested in knowing how they do it, but when they had the casting announcement a few months ago, where they brought in all of the people to Pinewood Studios to announce the movie, they had Sam Mendes on stage, Daniel Craig, as well as the new cast: Christoph Waltz, Monica Bellucci, Andrew Scott, Dave Bautista, Ray Fiennes, Naomi Harris, Ben Whishaw, Rory Kinnear, and Leah Seydow. So that's the new cast. They've been given names, but it wouldn't surprise me if these names were pseudonyms, if they were code names, if they were secret identities. And when it comes to who could possibly play Blofeld, I have three theories. One of them is the obvious one: Christoph Waltz as Blofeld. It seems like the type of role he was born to play, which I think would be absolutely brilliant. I have no doubt he would be incredible as Blofeld, and his character's name, as announced officially by MGM, is Franz Oberhauser. That does sound like a villain name. Dave Bautista is Mr. Hinks, a henchman and bodyguard, and although his head is shaved, I doubt he'll be playing Blofeld. That could happen. That could be a good late in the game twist, that the henchman ends up being the true brains of the operation. I'm not sure if Bond has ever done that before, which might be interesting. And of course, Dave Bautista has shown that when in the hands of a very capable director, such as he was with James Gunn in Guardians of the Galaxy, that despite being a wrestler with limited range, by his own admittance, he said in interviews that he knows he's not a great actor, but he's just so grateful to be working, which is very humble, and it really warms me to the guy. I think in the hands of a great director, he could pull off something very special, but I don't think they're going in that direction. But it could happen. It's a possibility. The other possibility, it also involves maybe a twist. Andrew Scott as Denbigh. Now, I think that's how you pronounce it. I've not heard these names said out loud, so I could be wrong, but Denbigh is how it's spelt, so that's how I'm going to say it. He is a member of Whitehall, and I believe Whitehall is Her Majesty's government. So I'm assuming that he is part of MI6 to some capacity, or is at least affiliated with the organisation that James Bond works for. And what might be interesting is that, because Andrew Scott, you will know him as Moriarty from the Sherlock series, and he's brilliant in that. He's done a few other things recently where he's not been the villain. He was a supporting cast member in the movie Pride. And Pride is a very good movie, really enjoyable. He's not a villain in that, of course. But he's still really great, and he's also it's a vocal turn in Locke, which is he was also very good in that, despite just being a voice on the phone. He's a fantastic actor, and I'm sure he'd be able to pull off Blofeld. But I think Christoph Waltz and Andrew Scott, if they are bringing in Blofeld, those two are sort of misdirection. They have cast two actors who are renowned for playing villains. Christoph Waltz is a villain in almost everything he's done. Very recently, Big Eyes, in which I thought he was really great. And of course, Andrew Scott, despite doing a few other things, is pretty much known by many people as Moriarty from Sherlock. That's a given. I think what could happen is that Ralph Fiennes could become Blofeld, because he's, of course, Ralph Fiennes he also happens to play villains a lot. He was of course Hades in Clash of the Titans and Wrath of the Titans. He was probably the best thing about those movies. He was He Who Shall Not Be Named in the Harry Potter franchise. He was Voldemort for how many movies? 4 or 5 movies, and he was great in that as well. He is such an incredible presence as Voldemort. And in this movie, he's just become the new M. He's the head of MI6. He's replacing Judi Dench after the events of Skyfall. So I think it would make sense for a character like him to become Blofeld, somebody who has all of the insider knowledge of a secretive, heavily armed organisation. And of course it would make a great late in the game twist, but of course it doesn't have to be a twist. But it's not been officially revealed just who is going to play Blofeld. For example, Rory Kinnear could be playing Blofeld, because he maybe has a similar role to Ralph Fiennes, because Rory Kinnear is Bill Tanner, who is the MI6 Chief of Staff. He could easily use the resources at MI6 to be helping out with Spectre and be Blofeld, like be their man on the inside and help out. Who knows? It's very up in the air, and I kind of like that. While I think Blofeld being in the movie is a foregone conclusion, who is playing him and in what capacity is being kept tightly under wraps. There is a leaked script, however. There's a leaked script. Apparently it's just a shooting script, but a script nevertheless. I have not read said script. I've heard that the third act is heavily problematic, but that's about as far as it goes. I've not read the script, so I don't know if Blofeld is in it or who is playing him, and quite frankly, I don't want to know by a leaked script. I would rather find it out through a trailer, find it out through a poster or whatever, something official coming from Sony Pictures, MGM, Columbia, whatever. I think that they'll hint at Blofeld in the teaser trailers and maybe announce him properly in a proper trailer, maybe the final trailer or something. So Spectre is one of my most anticipated movies of the year. Massively looking forward to it because Skyfall was just so good, and I have absolute faith in Sam Mendes and the creative team. They've got the same screenwriters, great returning cast members, some great new cast members who I'm very interested in seeing how they do. And yeah, I think Blofeld, to answer Dean Jones' question in a too long didn't read manner, I think that Blofeld will be in Spectre, because it's Spectre, you kind of have to do it. Whether or not they're going to go with the iconic image that we know him, because even though he's been played by multiple actors on screen, the one that audiences instantly recognise is the Donald Pleasance one. So whether or not they go with that or a different visual interpretation, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. And I think he will be played by either Ralph Fiennes or Christoph Waltz or Andrew Scott. Probably Ralph Fiennes, that's my guess, but I literally have nothing to base this on other than my personal speculation. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you get in the comment section, because this is all about you. This is about you as well. Don't forget to please comment below. Let me know if you think Blofeld will be in Spectre. Let's answer Dean Jones' questions together. Let's get some theories going. But of course, I don't want to know anything from the leaked script if you guys and girls have read it. So, don't do that. There is a line. So, what topics would you like me to talk about in future? I'm going to do one of these weekly. And also, if you would like to request a topic that I definitely have to do, make sure it's a good one. Please go on Patreon. It's currently keeping me fed. You can get lots of other perks such as review notes, scripts, audio commentaries, and things like that, as well as letting your channel get a plug on my videos and things like that, as well as having some input in my reviews. So please go to that. I'd massively appreciate it, and I shall see you guys next time.